and had no idea the emperor could hear her inner thoughts, so she vented wildly in her mind about his majesty. All the concubines in the harem were cuckolding him, yet he was still preoccupied with approving memorials. Unexpectedly, the emperor overheard her thoughts and confronted her, demanding, "Who dares cuckold the emperor? How audacious!" The reason and knew these hidden secrets was because she had once been a prodigious young cultivator in the immortal realm, yet just as she was about to ascend, a bolt of heavenly lightning struck her directly. Witnessing this, her master hastily performed a divination ritual, only to discover and still needed to overcome a tribulation of love before ascending. Soon, Anne's soul possessed the body of a concubine. Before she could grasp her new circumstances, the original owner's memories flooded into her mind like a tidal wave. It turned out the emperor had selected her name from the concubines list yet delayed granting her favor. Deeply humiliated by this, she chose to hang herself from the rafters. Upon learning this, and felt no pity for the original owner. Instead, she couldn't help but mutter that the poor thing must have been a fool. Just then, the emperor rushed over, learning she had taken her own life after failing to serve him in the bedchamber. He hastily explained, "I selected your name merely to conceal the truth. My heart belongs solely to the empress. No matter how desperately you seek death, I shall never touch you." Hearing this, and instantly foresaw the rebel invasion 3 months hence, the critical moment when the emperor would be betrayed by the empress, and ultimately meet a tragic end at the rebels' blades. Thus and couldn't help but remark, "Better not consummating the marriage then. After all, His Majesty won't live long. At least I won't have to be a widow then." The emperor heard this and demanded, "What did you say?" Yet the very next moment, he realized she hadn't spoken a word. Could it be he'd heard her inner thoughts? Just then, the eunuch passed by carrying memorials. Seeing this, the emperor immediately picked up the documents to review them. Who would have thought he'd hear Anne's inner thoughts again? Learning that Amy had betrayed him, that she was now cavorting with a rogue in the Imperial gardens, the emperor's wrath flared instantly. Adopting a better safe than sorry approach, he seized the sword nearby and stormed toward the gardens with fierce determination. Hearing the commotion, Amy hurriedly urged the rogue to dive into the water and flee. Witnessing this scene, the emperor could no longer doubt Anne's truthfulness. Soon, guided by her inner thoughts, he discovered a boot belonging to an Imperial guard lying on the ground. By gathering all the guards together and checking who was missing a boot, he could uncover the identity of the rogue. What followed was shocking. Of the 60 guards on duty, only 22 were present. Upon hearing the emperor intended to thoroughly investigate the guards' debauchery in the harem, 38 of them fled. Hearing this, and couldn't contain herself, she hadn't imagined that 38 men had cuckolded the emperor. The emperor, equally horrified by this revelation, instantly spat out a mouthful of blood in rage. Later, he confronted the empress, demanding to know how she managed the harem. That such a scandal, guards conspiring with concubines, could occur. Before the empress could explain, the emperor again heard Anne's inner voice. The empress knew the ladies of the harem were lonely in their secluded chambers, so she desperately filled every palace with handsome young guards. The ladies' eyes were nearly dazzled by choice. To ensure the imperial lineage continued, the empress truly spared no effort, and then instantly discerned the empress was already 2 months pregnant. This shattered the emperor's defenses completely, for he had only returned from his 3-month absence. Thus, the child within the empress was not his. Seeing the emperor's furious rage, and could only silently lament within, the child may not be his majesty's, but the wife is his majesty's, and calculated with her fingers, it was a son. What a jackpot. But unexpectedly, the princess overheard Anne's thoughts. She immediately stepped forward to defend her sister-in-law, stating that the imperial physicians visited monthly to check the queen's pulse. If she were truly pregnant, how could it be concealed? Yet in the next instant, Anne dropped a bombshell. The child in the queen's womb belonged to the prince consort. Hearing this, the prince consort hastily denied it, claiming he and the empress were blood siblings. They could never commit such an act defying moral order, and retorted, "Why not?" The prince consort bribed the imperial physicians to tamper with the monthly pulse readings. The emperor was cuckolded, the princess was cuckolded, and it was all thanks to the prince consort. He was life's ultimate winner. Despite and laying out the evidence so plainly, the princess remained convinced they were merely siblings. She didn't realize the prince consort was only 6 months younger than the empress. They couldn't possibly be biological siblings. Yet the love-struck princess, unwilling to face such an absurd truth, instead vented all her fury upon Anne. Just as the scene descended into chaos, the empress dowager arrived upon hearing the commotion. Seeing this, the princess immediately turned the tables, accusing Anne of sowing discord between her brother and sister-in-law. Upon hearing this, the empress dowager instantly ordered Anne to be punished, but then Anne blurted out in her mind the secret of the empress dowager keeping a male lover. This sent the empress dowager into a rage, shouting that Anne was talking utter nonsense. Seeing her mother react so violently, the siblings instantly realized she could hear Anne's thoughts too. At the same time, Anne explained she hadn't spoken a word, thinking, "Forget it. Not worth arguing with this old hag." She figured in a few months anyway, the prince consort would lead rebels into the palace. Then the empress dowager would hang herself, the emperor beheaded, and the princess driven mad. Not a happy ending for any of them. All I need is to find a blade and plunge in, and this plotline will be over. The emperor mentioned something about the prince consort plotting rebellion. At these words, the prince consort instantly fell to his knees in terror. Seeing this, the love-struck princess hurried to speak for him. The empress dowager, already harboring resentment toward him for exposing her affair with a male lover, so she ordered a maid to give him the red-crested crane poison, claiming Anne had stirred up trouble within the imperial family. This terrified Anne no end. She certainly didn't want her life to end so soon after her ordeal began. Yet the emperor dared not defy his mother's command. The maid brought the poison to Anne. At that moment, the empress dowager thought to herself, she had merely kept a eunuch who bore a striking resemblance to the late emperor to attend to her needs. Yet he had uncovered the secret. If word of this leaked, rumors would inevitably run rampant and must not be allowed to live. The emperor reasoned that since Anne had exposed so many palace scandals, he could not save her. Once she was dead, he could thoroughly investigate the truth. Little did he know Anne was no pushover. Since she couldn't escape her own fate, neither would these others live to tell the tale. With a single snap of his fingers, he froze them all in place. Then he poured the red-crested crane poison into each of their cups, declaring, "If I must die, you shall die with me." This red-crested crane poison is a fine thing indeed. Those who haven't tasted it yet are truly blessed. Another snap of his fingers, and everyone snapped back to life. They all raised their cups and drank, and so, they all met their end together.